Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Draw the Line podcast. I am your host, Anton Lee, and I'm joined by a panel of close friends and avid sports fans, Lucas Watkins, and for the first time, Mr. Casey Chang. Welcome to the show, Casey. It's very good to have you on. Casey is a very avid Orlando Magic fan, so we're going to have some nice insight into another small market team. We are recording exactly at noon on Saturday, January 14th. Gentlemen, we're at like the midway point through the NBA season. I think it's a good time to check in. We kind of can see what teams are for real, what teams are not. And of course, around this time, one or two like middling bottom tier teams will sometimes make a nice push. Like last year, it was the Celtics. Last year, the Celtics were like, should they trade Jalen Tatum and Jaylen Brown? And then they went to the NBA Finals. So a lot of season left, but we can kind of get a good feel for what teams are based on the sample size. As we mentioned before, Casey's a Magic fan. We are not Magic fans. I really don't watch a lot of Magic games unless they're playing the Cavs. I'm sure Lucas only watches the Magic when they play the Warriors. But Casey, just really quickly, man, give us the lowdown on what's going on in Disneyland, Disneytown. Like, what's the vibe? How are people feeling out there?
All right, so the Magic right now have a lot of exciting talent. This is like the most excited I've been about the Magic since maybe like 2017 when we first made the playoffs. I mean, if just to talk about players, we have a lot of young guys. We got Franz Wagner coming into his second year here. Paolo Banchero, number one pick. Got a whole bunch of other young developing guys. We got Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs. We just got Wendell Carter Jr. a couple seasons ago. There's a lot to be excited for. The Magic is also one of the most injured teams this year, missing guys like, of course, Jonathan Isaac, Markelle Fultz, Jalen Suggs missed some time, Gary Harris missed some time. So we're just hoping that second half of the season everyone will be healthy, and I believe the Magic can make a push to the play-in games.
Who do you think is the most exciting? Is it Paolo, like, by far, like he's like the one that you're looking at as like he's the guy we're gonna build around, or are you looking at like Jalen Suggs? Who is the person who's like the cornerstone, who's emerging as that player?
Or Franz? I think Franz is probably give me your like top four like guys that we're looking, like guys that you think are going to be the guy in the future.
Yeah, I think at number one I have to give it to Paolo. I think Franz is doing amazing things this year, and he is finally, getting some recognition in the media as he should. But there's just something about Paolo's game. He really, I feel like, does have that. Like he passes the eye test. Like he looks like
he's
an
fucking
NBA
huge.
player.
He's fucking huge.
Yeah.
He's enormous.
So at one, I'd put Paolo. Two, Franz. He's averaging over 20 points per game this season. He's a very versatile defender. Stats don't jump off this page at you, but he's a very nice player. Three, I'd probably say Markelle Fultz.
Really, Markelle Fultz?
I'm sure.
Above Jalen Suggs?
Okay, that's the thing about Suggs. Suggs might just not be that good. Like,
really?
I want to hear your take on that too.
Yeah. Actually, hold on. I'm gonna change. I'm gonna say Wendell Carter Jr.
Wow. Okay.
He's not really gonna put up like 25 and 10 a game, but he's a solid defender. He just really helps hold down the paint defensively. And then four, I'd put Markelle Fultz. When Markelle Fultz was injured for the first, I don't know, like 12 games of the season. I don't know how many games it was. You really saw the Magic try to give it a shot with Cole Anthony and Jalen Suggs, and neither of those guys are true point guards. And you can really see the difference on the court when Markelle Fultz is like creating an offense, and you don't have to rely on Paolo and Franz, like two big forwards, to do all the ball handling.
If you had to like let's do cut, bench, start. Three players, those three players right there. Actually, no. I feel like it's not a good comparison. Okay, I guess my question really is, how far away are the Magic really? Like, you listed some pretty good players. I think they're all serviceable. Like if you take Paolo and you put him on any other team, he's still good, right? But how far away are you really? Like having a guy like that, maybe you're kind of like Charlotte, Like LaMelo, like you put LaMelo on any team, he's probably pretty good. But how far away are the Magic from like really contending? Like, what is their ceiling right now?
I think, I think we could be in the Eastern Conference Finals in like 4 or 5 years, to be completely
Okay,
honest.
that's a very reasonable, it's a very reasonable expectation. But what has to happen in those 5 years?
Wembanyama.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, draft from Benyama, number one.
No, I think health is the biggest thing right now because we haven't really seen the Magic at their potential. Jonathan Isaac just played in his first like G League minutes in over like 700 days. This was a few days ago. He played in his first G League game
Is he even nice, bro?
back on court.
Is he even nice
He
with
he
it?
scored 15 points in like 15 minutes, I think.
So he's nice.
Um,
I mean, I don't really know.
he should
I only
still
know
be
him as a
nice,
guy
but
who like he wouldn't kneel during the bubble. That's how I remember him. Damn, bro, that's tough.
yeah.
That's tough.
He's got some strong morals.
Yeah, it's very strong morals. Well, can you tell me, like, in an ideal world, who would fit the best on the Magic? I feel like I want to get a good pulse of the Magic. What are their needs right now?
Right now, shooters. We need shooters, and a nice backup big would be great. I think Markel Fultz. I mean, I'm pretty high on Markel Fultz. I think he's a great facilitator. He's a really good defender. He's lengthy. And then for our wings, we got Paolo and Franz. No complaints there. Right now, our two, we start Gary Harris, who's fine, but he's never really recovered. Like he hasn't really been good in the past few years. I think having a good shooting two would be great. We're also one of the worst like 3-point shooting teams in the league in terms of volume and efficiency. And I feel like you really do need shooting to compete in the modern NBA.
That definitely seems to be true. I think a lot of teams right now, if you had to make a trade to either become a contender or to, bolster the lineup, add more depth, you're always looking for like a 3-and-D kind of guy. I think every player could use someone like an OG Anunoby or like a Jeremy Grant. Those kind of players seem to be really valuable in the modern NBA, like a lengthy wing who can, guard, let's say 3 through 5, maybe not 5 all the way, but 3 through 5 seems really nice. And then you can shoot to sort of transition towards the meat of today's topic. Casey, is there a player on the Magic right now who would be like a very good trade asset, either to help the Magic get, I don't know, either more assets to draft, or is there someone on the Magic right now who could go to a contending team right now and make them like the favorite?
And make them what?
Like the favorite, or like, like really push them over the top, anyone on the Magic.
I mean, if you were to take anyone, if you were to take Paolo, put him on another team,
more
that'd
like
be great. But
someone
if
they'd
you
be
talk
willing
about
to
realistic,
trade. Yeah.
yeah, like realistically, no. Um, the Magic aren't going to be trading like any of their top talent, and the guys who are potentially on the trading block are guys like Cole Anthony, Mo Bamba, Terrence Ross, guys who can help a bench unit, but they're not really going to be, making a huge splash in whatever new team they might go to.
Wait, who was it again? Bol. Listen.
Oh yeah.
Put Bol on the Warriors, Lucas. What are you talking? What are you thinking, man? Bol on the Warriors.
Seed.
1 seed.
1 seed, baby. We need that.
We just talked about the Magic for a little bit, and it's good to hear about what's going on in Disney World. But I kind of wanted to broaden the scope out. Go to the West Coast. Lucas, Warriors fan. What's been going on, man?
Sir.
I feel like the Warriors, they played a little bit better than they expected with Steph out. How's that looking so far?
I mean, the Warriors right now, we're halfway through the season. We are exactly 500. And the only thing that's saving us right now is the fact that the West is so easily surpassable. Like I think the best team in the West is like 7 games ahead of us right now, and we have a whole half of a season to go. So the problem, I wrote down some points here because the problem with the Warriors is very clearly and has been for the entire year. It's been our defense. We have a very subpar defense. I think we rank in the bottom 20 in defense in the league. And I'm complaining, Casey, here. I'm complaining about being 500. I'm sorry. Like, but you understand, like, we're maximizing Steph Curry. Like, we're trying to, like, win in the championship right now. It's a different standard, I think. At least now. Maybe in 4 or 5 years, we'll be talking about the Magic in this way.
Yeah, hopefully.
So, what happened this season? What happened this offseason that has led the Warriors to be where they are right now is the front office bought in with Jordan Poole and Andrew Wiggins, right? Andrew Wiggins has been hurt, but Jordan Poole, I don't know if you watch the Warriors games, Jordan Poole is one of the worst defenders in the NBA. This guy is not good at defense. Like, he just gets exposed. He gets dominated by bigs. He's not, like, laterally quick enough to, like, handle like smaller guys. He just doesn't have any, like, instincts. He's not a good rebounder. On the defensive end, Jordan Poole is a minus player. And we've obviously, without Steph for a while, that's been our game, has been, okay, no Steph, we go Jordan. And unfortunately, Jordan has not been able to make up for it on the offensive side this year. He's shooting 31% from three. And I think, last year it was okay because, hey, you're shooting 50, 40, 90. This year you're shooting 40, 30, 80. And it just kind of comes out. But what I think has happened to allow the rest of the team to be slower on defense with Jordan Poole is Draymond punched Jordan Poole in the face in the offseason.
Okay, let's talk about this right now.
You remember that?
Because you brought this up, okay?
Yeah.
I always felt like the Warriors were going to be able to work past that. But for some reason, the beginning of the season didn't really feel like that. I felt like maybe that cloud was sort of hanging over them. Like, there was never a moment in, the home opener where they, like, dap each other up and hug in front of everyone. Everyone's like, look, they're cool. There never was a moment like that. You, as a Warriors fan, you paid Jordan Poole to sort of be the transitional, maybe like he could be the torchbearer, right, for the next era of Warriors basketball. But you're listing a lot of flaws you don't often see in cornerstone players, and you kind of pay Jordan Poole like he might be the future. How are you feeling about that contract right now, knowing that when given the stage with Steph Curry out, after a year of a very good basketball from him, how are you feeling? Is this looking like it could be a mistake, or are you still, like, confident that he's going to be the guy?
That's the thing, is because if you're looking towards the future, no matter what, it was the right play. But obviously, what we've been doing for the last 3 years, probably since the season we were garbage, was to retool, to do like a rebuild while you stay competitive and championship tier, right? Now, next season, we might lose Klay Thompson. We might lose Draymond Green next season. And Klay Thompson, I don't know if you've been watching recently, has been balling. He's been balling his ass off.
He put up 50.
So, like, yeah, bro. And I think he's averaging like 35 a game in like the last like 7 games or something like that.
Damn.
So he's going off, but he's also not as fast on defense also. So, I don't feel bad about the contract right now. I think he can definitely get better. It's just that style of, he's got swag. He's kind of like got a sense of entitlement almost. That doesn't really fit in with the defensive, like, intensity that the Warriors have, like, built their dynasty upon. We've always been a top 3 defense and then a top 5 offense.
The Warriors,
like that's where it starts.
The Warriors play like a really smart brand of basketball. Like, you can just tell that when they're moving around, there's so much, like, high level thinking with their off ball movement and their defensive rotations that someone like Jordan Poole, who just seems kind of like just a hooper, like just someone who just, like, he doesn't stretch, he just shows up and he's just nice with it. I don't know if that guy really fits a very intelligent, cerebral style of basketball that the Warriors play. I don't know about you, Casey, but I'm actually not sold on Jordan Poole. I know a lot of Warriors fans last year were like, he's the guy. He's going to be he's the next Steph Curry. Oh my God, he's amazing. I watched Jordan Poole, and yeah, he is splashy. And when he makes some shots, you're like, wow, this guy is really good. But what do you think of Jordan Poole as a player right now?
I mean, I think last year with the Warriors giving him that contract extension, it was an extension, right?
Yeah, it was.
It was the rookie max.
Yeah. I think that was just the Warriors showing confidence in his ability to continue growing. Like, obviously, I think he should have been most improved last year. Yeah, I think he should have been most improved last year.
Yeah.
And I do think he's a baller. Like he can get things done. He just has to be more consistent. And I do think he can be. Um, like yeah, obviously we don't really know what's going on behind the scenes with the Warriors organization, how that team chemistry really is off the court. But I do believe in Jordan Poole.
This is what I'm also worried about, right? Like the other thing that happened in this offseason, we lost Gary Payton, who is a motor, and we lost our assistant coach Mike Brown, who went to the Sacramento Kings, and look how the Kings are doing right now. Like they're better than the Warriors right now. So I think it's a combination of that slap that we had from Draymond Green, which means that Draymond Green can't talk his same shit to Jordan Poole that he should be, saying, hey, get your ass back on defense and fucking focus up, right? And we lost Mike Brown, and what I heard when we lost Mike Brown, everyone was like praising him, like, oh, congratulations, all this. They were saying that he ran the toughest practices that they've ever had. Like, this guy was, like, on top of their shit, and he was the defensive-minded coach, like, running hard practices all the time. And now you switch from a team that is Mike Brown in practice, Draymond Green talking his shit during the game and in practice, and you have a player like Gary Payton who's trying to prove it, to now you don't have Mike Brown, you don't have Draymond Green talking, you don't have Gary Payton. It's Jordan Poole's team right now with the absence of Steph Curry. Obviously, he just came back. And what's happened? Our defense has lacked.
Gary Payton might have been a really... Though you look back at that, it's kind of like an Alex Caruso Lakers situation where it's kind of like, why did you let that guy go? Why? I mean, Gary Payton, when I watched the Warriors last year, seemed like a really critical part of that team. And I can't remember, did he come back in the finals? Was that right? He came back in the middle of the finals?
Yeah, he got injured against the Grizzlies and he came back. I think it was game 1 or 2 in the finals.
And I was rooting for the Celtics at the time because my friends, they're from Boston, and my roommate is too. So I wanted the Celtics to win because I didn't want them to be all grumpy all summer. It would have also been... It also hurts to watch the Warriors win another championship. It really does, as a Cleveland Cavalier fan. It hurts my soul to watch the Warriors win. But when Gary Payton came back, I knew it was over. For some reason, when he came back into the game and he brought that defensive intensity and he was that spark off the bench, that small guy who can yam it on people, I thought he was one of the most important players on the team, not only just as what he brought to the defensive end, but just also his presence as a player. Like someone who's just going to be gritty and dive on the floor. You need that kind of edge to win a championship. And I don't see that from the Warriors. I don't see anyone like that. Like, is Dante DiVincenzo supposed to be that guy? Is he supposed to be the guy that's like, yeah, go ahead.
So that's the thing is the front office had that choice. Like, they're way over the luxury tax. So every $1 million that they pay a player, I think they're paying $2 million in tax. So it's like they got Dante DiVincenzo, luckily, at a lower price point. They figured, hey, Dante DiVincenzo is a really very good defender who can also shoot, and he's more proven than Gary Payton. And Gary Payton's going to cost more at this point. And Gary Payton ended up getting like 12 or 15 million from Portland. We got DiVincenzo for like 8 or 9. Dante DiVincenzo has actually been really good. There's no doubt about that. Like, he has been, I wouldn't say he's the same, like, out of nowhere, like, like, this is our defensive guy, as Gary Payton was, but there's no knock on Dante DiVincenzo. Like, he has been a spark plug in games where we needed him. He has been able to lock down a star point guard. I don't know if you saw that game against Portland where he locked down Damian Lillard. But it's not the same level of, like, I need to prove it. You know, like before the game, I watched the game last night in the Alamo Dome against the Spurs. It was him and Jordan Poole, and they're having a great time. Like, they're, like, fucking around. They got this, like, young vibe, young energy, like, haha. Dante DiVincenzo isn't going to, like, yell at someone.
True,
you know?
yeah.
He doesn't have that like, same energy. But he's a good player. I'm happy with him overall.
Do you think, okay, so the Warriors right now, you're going to get Steph Curry back. I mean, that helps anybody get Steph Curry back. One of the best shooters of all time. Actually, the best shooter of all time. You can say that now. You get Andrew Wiggins back, I think, right, soon. No, he's coming back off of, what is it, sprained?
No, Wiggins is back.
Wiggins is back. That's one of the better 3-and-D guys in the league. I mean, he locked up JT, top 5 player in the league, in the finals. So I think the Warriors are sitting nice, but there was a big question mark last year Sorry, not a big question mark, but they made a move last year where they got Andrew Wiggins. Hopefully Lucas can still hear me. Maybe
that wasn't last year. That was like, I can hear you.
Okay, good.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
That was like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah,
that was during the bubble season.
So Andrew Wiggins, right? Andrew Wiggins was, I think, one of the players that sort of swung the championship. I think he sort of his presence was a little not underappreciated, but it went under the radar. Is there a player out there right now who, if the Warriors could somehow get them, you would be looking at the Warriors like, yes, we're gonna win the chip this year? Because I am not sold right now. The Warriors are gonna do it.
A player that the Warriors would be willing to go get. I don't think that there's going to be a big trade. I definitely don't think so. I think it's, the whole point of paying everyone was so we can keep what we have right now and go again. So I don't think so. But obviously, the player that I want Jimmy Butler on my team.
Jimmy Butler.
I want someone like that. But that's just not going to happen. I want a veteran. I want someone that's knows how to motivate a team. Obviously, we have a ton of vets, but I think we need another spark. Or what would be the best case scenario is one of our young guys decides to take that on him.
Kuminga.
Jonathan Kuminga.
Yeah. I think the Warriors are in this in-between stage where it's you got to develop your guys, but you also got to win a chip while you still have Steph Curry and Clay and Draymond together. So I'm interested to see what they're going to do. They kind of got by the last couple of years by just paying everyone tons and tons of money, but that's becoming a little bit unsustainable, even in a humongous market like the San Francisco Bay Area. So we'll see what's up with the Warriors, but we got to talk about a team that has to make moves soon, and that is the Dallas Mavericks. The Mavericks have Luka Doncic, who is shaping up to be an all-time player. I'm not going to say where, top 25, top 15, whatever, but people are casting Luka up there because, man, that guy is talented as fuck. I'm always, another Kings blunder. We'll put it that way. The Kings didn't draft him. He's going to be good. Luka plays this very heliocentric style. His usage rate is god awfully high. Probably almost 40%. He touches the ball all the time. Yet, when you watch the Mavericks play, you keep thinking they need someone else. They need someone else to help him out because he's surrounded by good shooters like Reggie Bullock, Dorian Finney-Smith, Kleber. All those guys are good spot-up shooters, but they sometimes have a hard time creating their own shot. Bill Simmons mentioned Kyrie Irving as a possible name that could go to Dallas. What do you guys think? I mean, let's toss to Casey. We haven't heard from Casey in a little bit. Casey, what do you think? Who do you think the Mavericks should try to get? They lost Jalen Brunson. He seems like a perfect fit right now for the Mavericks, but who should the Mavericks try to get?
I mean, just going back to what you just said about shooters, yes, the guys who are currently on the Mavericks, they're kind of thought of as 3D players, shooters. But if you look at their splits this year, they're just not hitting shots. Reggie Bullock, he's shooting 34% from the floor. Tim Hardaway Jr., 39%. Dorian Finney-Smith, 40%. I think if these guys were hitting their career averages, we wouldn't be having this conversation. I think the Mavericks would be, I don't know, top 4 team in the league or top 4 team in the West. And we wouldn't be having this sort of discussion about, who they need to go get.
Yeah, I mean, the idea is everyone's been saying it's okay, they need a secondary playmaker. I don't know. I also don't know, Casey. Because the style of play is obviously we let Luka do what he does, and then he kicks the ball out when he's ready. But they're I think they're 4th or 5th in the West right now, and it's been working pretty well. Luka is a player that, luckily, I think if you take Luka off this team, they are actually garbage. It's not a situation where it's the Utah Jazz where you take off their 2 best players and hey, they have a really good structure. I think that's just not going to happen. That Luka is a player that is actually capable of carrying a team during the regular season to be a playoff team, to be a legit playoff team. So when you have a player like that, I want to think back to other teams.
LeBron.
Has that worked out?
LeBron.
LeBron, that's the guy. LeBron took that shitty team and then he won a championship when he was, when he got Kyrie, when he got K Love, but like, I don't know, man. I just don't know what the recipe is right now. Obviously you want to like improve your defense. Luke is obviously a bad defender. I'm bringing up my argument about Jordan Poole again, but Anton, you have probably more experience dealing with something like this,
yes.
Being a LeBron stan.
Yes. Proud Bron.
When you have a team that is like built around one guy, like this is your guy, what do you need most on that team?
So as a proud Bronsexual, I've studied a lot of LeBron's former partners because I think it's important for me to be a true Bronsexual. You see, LeBron's best teammates are guys that he can defer to. You think sometimes with a player like Luka, you want like an excellent spot up shooter or like someone who, kind of can just like a Steph Curry, like run around, get open, take a shot. But you actually just want someone to get the ball out of Luka's hands. Like too many times you watch him and he's just dribbling, which like way out by the 3-point line. He wastes like 14 seconds of the shot clock because he's tired. I think a really good player could be someone like Zach LaVine. And Zach LaVine, the reason why I say Zach LaVine is because he's fast, he's athletic, he can shoot threes. I mean, like at a reasonable level. And he's also someone who I think has been looking for a chance to prove that he's still that guy that Minnesota thought he was when they first drafted him. Zach LaVine went to Chicago, but then quickly after, if I'm not mistaken, DeMar showed up, or was it the other way around? He showed up when DeMar was already there. Do you guys remember?
No, Zach was there.
He was there.
He was balling out too. He was balling. He was averaging, I think, like 25, 26 a game.
Yeah, then DeMar shows up, and it's kind of like, okay, well now he needs a sidekick. I think Zach LaVine going to Dallas is a great situation for him. He kind of still stays in like a nice, meaty market. And he's also playing. There's also been some things about him wanting out of Chicago. And Chicago has to blow it up. I mean, let's talk about Chicago real quick. Chicago has to blow it up, right? What is salvageable here? Like that Vooch trade is a disaster. Former Magic player, no disrespect. But listen, Vooch is a great guy to have on a team like the Magic who have nothing to lose. But the Bulls have something to win. So you can't really have someone like Vooch taking really big shots for the end of the game. I don't know. What do you guys think? The Bulls, do they got to blow it up? Is this like no, we actually package one more thing, trying to make one last move to salvage this thing? Or is it just like a fuck it, blow it up situation?
No, I think it's definitely a blow it up situation, just given Lonzo Ball, because he's just so injured. Like, he's just not okay. And like, with Alex Caruso, it's like you have a ton of players who are really injury prone, and even when you guys were at your best, when you had the entire team, I guess they lost Lonzo before they like really started to like take up, like start shitting the bed last year, but they weren't going to win the championship. Like no. They maybe were the 1 seed for a while, but that is not a championship team, a team of Lonzo, Vooch, Zach LaVine, and DeMar. Like, unfortunately, that doesn't win you a championship. So I think that they still have a lot of good pieces to trade. Like, think about everything you could get for all of those players by trading them. You can get a lot.
You get a lot.
So yeah, I mean, if you're comfortable being in a big market and rebuilding, then yes, I say do it. They probably want to try to like stay somewhat in contention. Like, I don't think that they're a team that's willing to be like, oh, the Chicago Bulls, they're gonna lose every game. The Chicago Bulls don't want to be like that.
No.
But I think that what's best for their championship future, or like what's best for their overall future, would be to blow it up.
There's a big question mark I think a lot of teams have to face when you're in the middle. The decision is, do I go all the way, hello, Lucas's dog? Not his dog, but his roommate's dog, but it basically is Lucas's dog. Whole other situation. There's a situation, like, I think the Hawks are actually in this situation. No one wants to really say it yet because of how recent the DeJounte Murray trade is. People want to say, oh, maybe they just need time to acclimate to each other. I think the Hawks should blow it up. I really do. I don't really see how this team, with the current pieces they have, how it all is going to fit together somehow for them to beat like a Milwaukee or a Boston or even a Philadelphia or a Brooklyn for that. I mean, that's 4 teams right there. I don't think they stand a chance in a playoff series with. I mean, Cleveland, even this may be a homer thing to say, but Cleveland at least beat Boston 2 times in overtime when they're trying their hardest. Right? Sure, they didn't have Rob Williams, but they went to overtime 2 times against the Celtics and they won. So to me, I look at the Cavs and I think they could definitely win a series against a Brooklyn, a Boston, Philadelphia. They can do it. But Atlanta, there's no way. There's no way. Listen, hey, it's not like it's likely. It's not likely, but it's still possible. I think it's actually impossible for the Hawks to win a 7-game series against the Celtics. Come on.
Can I interject something here?
Of course.
I would just like to point out that the Magic did beat the Celtics on a back-to-back in TD Garden. First game with Jason Tatum, second game without. I just wanted to point that out.
No, it's true. It's true. The Celtics have taken.
They beat the Warriors too. Magic beat the Warriors on the road.
Hey, Magic are a frisky team. They're a team you're like, well, that's a dub, but then they actually play harder than you think. And that Paolo guy, man, he's special. But I want to just make mention that the Hawks made a move to get DeJounte Murray. And even when they made that trade, it had that Rudy Gobert feel, that kind of like, this is not going to work out. And it's not looking great. It's not looking like this is a good situation. It kind of feels like Karis LeVert. When the Cavs traded for Karis LeVert, it was big news. It was like, wow, the Cavs made like a pretty sizable move at the trade deadline. And then when he joined the team felt the same, if not a little bit worse. So I don't know about you guys, but the Hawks, it's tough, bro. It's tough. So the Bulls, they got to blow it up. The Hawks got to too. But now we got to talk about Lucas's least favorite team, the Los Angeles Lakers, home of.
That's not my least favorite team. My least favorite team is the Grizzlies.
Oh, Fraud Morant?
Yeah, fuck the Grizzlies.
Fuck the Grizzlies. The Lakers, they have LeBron. Okay, here's maybe a small hot take, but I don't think LeBron deserves more help. I really don't think so. He did this to himself. I mean, they look at the players they had. They had Josh Hart, Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Julius Randle, Alex Caruso, KCP, Danny Green. They had so many players that if they were on the team right now, you'd be like, they're set, they're perfect, they're golden.
Kyle Kuzma,
come on. Right? It's like, bro, how come everyone's like, LeBron needs more help? It's like, yo, he wanted Russell Westbrook over Buddy Hield. Think about that shit. Russell Westbrook.
That's true. LeBron is a terrible GM.
He's a terrible GM.
Terrible GM.
Right? He doesn't make good decisions. He wants to play with his buddies, right? He's treating the NBA like Adam Sandler treats the movie industry. He's like, you know what? I just want to make some money and I want to just hang out with my friends, do the things we like to do. But that's not how it works in the NBA. You can't just be like, I want Russell Westbrook and then think you're going to be good. Right? So what do the Lakers do? Right? Do you package the 2027, 2029 picks, which are valued super high right now because who knows what the Lakers will look like by then? Do you keep going and go all in? I mean, if you're Rob Pelinka, either Lucas or Casey, you guys I'll toss it to you. You're Rob Pelinka. What do you do here? Do you maybe move on from LeBron?
Yeah, absolutely. In my opinion, I mean, I've been saying this. I've actually been saying this. Like, once the Lakers started to suck last year, I said that they needed to trade LeBron. But unfortunately, you can't trade LeBron because he's LeBron, and LeBron has more pull than like an entire NBA organization. You know, because if you're talking about money, and I think that the whole league, when it comes to like a trade of that type of caliber, that's where like the NBA is going to be like, we need to figure out how is this going to affect our bottom line? Because if LeBron decides to leave and the Lakers become a shit team, like that just does not look good for the NBA. Like the NBA wants LeBron on the Lakers. They want LeBron and Anthony Davis and Russell Westbrook on the Lakers, and they want that team to be good. But it's just not happening right now. So if it was like an NBA 2K My GM situation, hell yeah, I trade LeBron, I trade Anthony Davis. You take I trade everything. I take my massive haul, and then I build a team out of my massive haul that is out of a good young core. Like, hey, like Lonzo Ball, Josh Hart, Kyle Kuzma, like the guys that they fucking lost, and then start from there. But there's so much money involved, and I think that it's just impossible to like you have to hire like the best economists in the world to figure out like the impact of trading that, like those two star players out of the biggest market in the entire NBA. Yeah, I don't know.
Casey?
Very tough. I would not want to be in Rob Pelinka's position.
Casey, what would you do?
Yeah, I agree that it's very difficult. I mean, LeBron's 38 years old. How many other teams are really looking to trade for him, considering everything they'd have to give up? I mean, we see with Chris Paul this season how quickly a player can decline. Like I wouldn't be surprised if LeBron is putting up like 25, 7 and 7 in 4 years.
Agreed.
But I also wouldn't be surprised if he's out of the league by then.
LeBron, as a Cleveland fan, LeBron is like the god, right? But even though the Cavs need a wing, they need like a much more reliable wing player, I wouldn't want LeBron on the team. Is that weird to say? Is it weird to say that I actually don't necessarily know if having LeBron on the Cavs would make them better? Because I don't know if LeBron would be willing to just play like a Karis LeVert role at a LeBron level. Like, I think he'd want to have the ball. And the way the Cavs...
I disagree.
You don't think so?
No, dude. No. LeBron would make the team way better.
I don't know.
Like,
I really don't know.
You run the... Okay, yeah. LeBron has not had a great season. And, like, he's turning the ball over or whatever. But, like, I still would prefer a team that has the tools that the Cavaliers do, that's run through LeBron James, over one that's run through Donovan Mitchell.
Statistically, LeBron puts up good stats, but I don't actually know if those stats contribute to winning basketball. I think LeBron is so good at basketball.
What do you mean?
I think LeBron is...
What are you talking about? It's LeBron James.
I think LeBron is so good at basketball that he can just get his numbers whenever he wants, and he knows that. And so he can always fall back on like, hey, look, I got my 27, 7 and 7. What'd you guys do? And then, but those points are like, if you watch the Lakers sometimes, man, that guy is like going for layups with like 20 seconds left and he's down by 14. And it's like, okay, most people just dribble the ball out, but he's actually trying to get his stats. So I think LeBron is just playing for stats. He's not actually trying to win. Does that make sense? Like his 20,
so you're
his
saying
27, 7 and
back.
7 doesn't seem like real contributing stats. Kind of like a Russell Westbrook. Like this is a facade. And this is coming from a proud Bron-sexual. I should be like on LeBron's nuts.
Why are you? I don't. That's why I don't get like your take here, because like, look at the fucking team. Troy Brown Jr. Like, who the fuck is this? Like, you have so many like actual nobodies who would be playing in a G League anywhere else. Like players who are not good enough to be on other NBA teams that are like getting consistent minutes for this team. LeBron is getting 27, 7 and 7, and you're saying that he's just not. It's his fault that they're not winning. Like,
yeah,
and guess what? They're better than they were last year. They're 13 and they're like 18 and 24 or something like that.
Because you also have Anthony Davis. Okay, you have Anthony Davis.
Looking it up.
Who Anthony Davis is playing at like
19 and 23. They're 4 games below 500.
Before Anthony Davis got hurt, he was playing at like an MVP level. And you have LeBron and Anthony Davis, and you're still playing with NBA players. You're not playing with guys from the first row. You're playing with NBA players.
That doesn't work. That's never
makes
worked.
sense.
It's never. No, you can't have a two. You can't blame. Okay, bro.
LeBron and AD.
If Anthony Davis is playing well, first of all, Anthony Davis has been injured this year. He has.
Well, he's always been injured.
But if you have Anthony Davis, I know. If you have 2 players that are playing at like a top 10 overall NBA level, and then a bunch of fucking nobodies, you're still gonna be bad. Like, look at Russell Westbrook and Paul George. Like, they weren't a great team. You know. I think Casey, help me out here. Like, there's been what about Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown? Like, at the time when they didn't have help around them. Like, you build a team with 2 great players, it does not guarantee success. And by the way, with their 2 great players, if you're taking the best 2 players and the worst team around them, this is what the Lakers are. There's never been a team. I don't think there's ever been a team that has like 2 great players that has had a worse supporting cast than the Lakers have right now. So it's not LeBron's fault, bro. LeBron is going to help out another team.
It may not be LeBron's fault, right? But we just made the same argument for Luka Doncic. You take away Luka Doncic, the Mavericks fucking suck. You take away AD and LeBron, the Lakers fucking suck. But the Mavericks are the 5th seed in the West.
But this is a different tier. This is a different thing. The Mavericks without Luka, versus the Lakers without LeBron and AD, it wouldn't even be fucking close. The Mavericks would destroy them.
The Mavericks currently are sitting in a top 6 seed, which guarantees them a spot in the playoffs. The Lakers are 3 spots out of the play-in. The play-in, Lucas. It means that their ceiling right now is the play-in. And as LeBron James...
Let's...
Go ahead. What are you saying?
Let's be more specific about that. The Lakers are 19 and 23. The Mavericks are 24 and 19.
That's a ridiculous difference.
The Lakers are currently
4.5 games. I mean, they're
4.5 games behind the Mavericks.
And we suddenly think that the Lakers are going to string together a bunch of wins. I don't think.
No,
so.
I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I'm just saying that it's not the same. It's not the same situation.
Okay, you know what? We're gonna move on because we've been talking about this for too long. But I'm telling you, the Lakers, man, the Lakers are in trouble. Lakers are real trouble. They got a lot of things to figure out. Last thing we'll talk about very quickly. Been on a little bit of a run recently, but we're approaching the trade deadline, and they made a move this offseason, a big trade that sort of sent shockwaves across the NBA in terms of setting the price for players. But the Minnesota Timberwolves are currently the 9 seed, 21 and 22 in the Western Conference. I'll give it to them recently. They've been winning, much to the chagrin of my Bills, but they have been winning. In the last, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the last 5 games, they're 4-1. That's not bad. I mean, that's a pretty. I mean, I know 4-1 is not often a stat you give, like, the last 5 games, but the Timberwolves, they've been playing really bad. They traded for Rudy Gobert. I think the other night he put up 20 and 20. That's really impressive. D'Lo's looking okay. Started really bad, but he's looking okay. Maybe he's been in some trade talks too. But what do you guys think? Do we already know by now that the Timberwolves should regret making the trade for Rudy Gobert? Casey, go ahead.
Absolutely. Okay, so you bring up that they're 4-1 in their past 5. They're 5-5 in their past 10. And now you have players throughout the season. You have players, Anthony Edwards talking, and now D'Lo talking about, like, openly talking about how the team just isn't really working. The haul they gave up to get Rudy Gobert was already way too much. And then now, like, yeah, you try, you experiment, and it's clearly not working. Like, if you're going to give up assets like that, you should not be below 500. Like, they have to, like, I don't think they can really blow it up at this point because they've already given away so much.
If you try to
trade
trade Rudy Gobert right now, there's no way you could get what they paid for. There's no way. And I look at the Timberwolves, and this is almost like a Cleveland Browns level mistake. Kind of like, you paid what for who? Right? Like, you gave $230 million to who? And the Timberwolves, like, if you're the NBA, you're like, I'm not going to give up, like, 11 first-round draft picks for Kevin Durant. Sorry, it's not going to happen. Just because Minnesota was stupid, they paid, like, 8 first-rounders for Rudy Gobert. I mean, he is who he is. Donovan Mitchell's 25, right? Rudy Gobert's what, 29, almost 30? You know, he seems like a guy who's been in the league for longer than that. Lucas, what do you think? Should the Timberwolves, like, look at us like, it's a mistake, we need to make moves to rectify this mistake? I mean, they were better last year than they are right now. What do you think?
I don't think... Yeah, I definitely think it is a mistake on their part. They shouldn't have paid that much for Rudy Gobert. I think everyone kind of felt that way. Also, everyone hates them for doing it, too. But I don't think that they are going to blow it up. I don't think that is the right move right now. I think it's just been half a season, and you have more room to go. The whole idea I always felt with this trade was you're banking on the fact that Anthony Edwards takes a big jump, right? That's kind of your whole thing. It's like, we want to bring in this guy who's a great defender so we can, like, boost our defensive rating. And then Anthony Edwards is going to make a jump on offense. You have Karl Anthony Towns, who's, like, the best, three-point shooting big man of all time, according to him. And then you're going to have a great team. Like, I think that the only thing that hasn't, like, fully happened is they haven't meshed yet. So, like, and that's a legit thing. It takes time for a team to, like, actually start meshing. Like, sometimes it takes a season. Like, it's happened before where it takes a whole season for players to start, like, playing well with each other. And Anthony Edwards hasn't taken a crazy leap. He's playing great. Like, he's a good player. He was a good player last year. He's a good player this year. I think he's getting 25, like 5-5 or something. But they're expecting him to get 37 and 7. And, like, they want him to be that fucking guy, like an NBA All-Star, like first team All NBA type of player.
And I
think that he could. So,
that's the mistake.
You think so?
The mistake is that you trusted Anthony Edwards to make that kind of leap when he only gave you one season and like a sort of really nice playoff performance. And then all of a sudden you think all in. Let's go all in for a guy like for Anthony Edwards. No, you don't do that because you only gave you one pretty good season, but not like cornerstone, this guy is forever kind of season. He didn't have like a Russell Westbrook like triple-double kind of season. He's like a pup. He's like a brand new guy in the league, like 22. And this is not the move you make for the 22-year-old. This is like it sounds weird, but if you have a guy like Donovan Mitchell, and he's been playing the way Donovan Mitchell's playing, putting up 71, 50 points in the playoffs, you get a guy like Rudy Gobert, right? And that sounds weird because those are the two guys who were already on the same team. They were traded away because they couldn't play well together, but I wouldn't make this kind of move for Anthony Edwards and bank on that the 22-year-old would all of a sudden blow up. And also, by trading for Rudy Gobert, you take away Karl Anthony Towns' greatest strength, which was his mismatch ability, right? Fours, there's no four big enough to guard Karl Anthony Towns. He's too big. There's no five quick enough to stay in front of him. So he's like this dual threat. You put him in the corner. That's why Memphis had such a hard time because you couldn't play Steven Adams against Karl Anthony Towns. And they had to put on like some stretch four, but it's not good enough. Now with Gobert on the floor, you have to play him with Karl Anthony Towns. Now Karl Anthony Towns can't do what he usually is good at. So it's just this huge compounding mess. It's just too much of a culture issue too in Minnesota. Like, how do you come back from this with like the whole team just having bad vibes? You just can't do it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Somehow, I just want to say, like you have to figure out a way for Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert to coexist, and that might not happen. There's definitely a chance where, I don't think we've ever seen like a real Twin Towers situation like fully like
Evan Mobley.
Evan Mobley and Jared Allen actually works though. That's the difference because they actually like can play
so tell me why do they work?
Why do they work? Well, because Rudy Gobert is like an offensive.
What's the spacing like?
The spacing is a little tough with them, but they have a very good inside game. Like there's a lot of big to big passing between the two of them. Like to open up the scoring against the Blazers, there was like 3 possessions in a row where Jared Allen just throws a lob to Evan Mobley, or Evan Mobley throws a lob to Jared Allen. Like those two guys are big, they can pass, and they're smart. But like I'm not expecting Rudy Gobert to start lobbing it up to Karl Anthony Towns, right? And Jared Allen and Evan Mobley's game is on the inside. Karl Anthony Towns' like offensive game is more like shooting threes and like, I don't know, mid range. He's more of a pick and pop kind of guy. But Evan Mobley and Jared Allen are going to pound you inside. Pause. But Rudy Gobert has no fucking offensive game. He has no bag. Rudy Gobert has no bag. Like, he's the dude who pulls up to the pickup, and you're like, damn, bro, I want that guy on my team. He's big as fuck. And then he has no game. He can't shoot. He can't no jump hook. He doesn't really get a lot of he doesn't get a lot of rebounds. You're like, what are you doing? You're just big as fuck in the inside, just clogging up the paint. That's what Anthony Edwards is talking about. Anyway, lastly, Cavs. Man, we're going to the chip, bro. We're going to the chip. Cavs are nice. Cavs are actually nice. Give us another year. Give us a year. Give us a good wing, like a Jeremy Grant, OG Anunoby, a Sadiq Bey ? And we're actually pretty good.
Ooh.
See, that'd be nice. Ooh. Sadiq Bey?
I like Sadiq Bey.
Sadiq Bey's kind of good, right? And that's coming from
good.
That's coming from a Warriors fan who saw Sadiq Bey. He hit that right.
Bro, but like going into that game, bro, it was like I'm thinking like, oh, okay, who the fuck do the Pistons have? Like Sadiq Bey, that's like it. He's pretty good. Like Bey. That's it.
He's one of those guys who dropped 50 last year, and his name just like lingers in your head. Like, hey, that guy dropped 50, man. He's pretty good. Well, that's gonna
50 on the Magic, by the way.
Oh, good. I'm glad that's a full circle moment for all of us. But anyway, that's gonna do it for us here on this episode of the Drawline Podcast. Today we got a lot of good football going on. The Niners Seahawks play in about 50 minutes here. Real quickly, predictions. Go ahead, Lucas.
Oh, dude, I'm fucking scared because it's raining. It's rain. I don't know if it's raining up there, but it's raining where I am right now. So I don't know. But Niners are gonna win. That's my prediction.
I hope that clip ages poorly. Casey, go ahead.
Yeah, I gotta take the Niners here too. I mean, put the ball in CMC's hands, and I think Geno Smith has proved a lot of his doubters wrong this season, but I don't know.
Coldest line. It said, what was it? They wouldn't call me.
Ain't right back.
Well, what was Geno Smith's quote? It was so fire.
It was like, I ain't right back. That's what he said. He said like something like, I ain't right back.
He said, Geno Smith, hold on. I gotta find it. Call back. Quote. No. I gotta find it. End the show with, they wrote me off.
They wrote me
off. I ain't right back, though. That is cold as fuck. And he's going to do it today. He's going to beat the Niners. And all my Niners fans are going to be so sad. They're going to cry. Oh, no. And they take the Super Bowl rings. They wipe it away. Oh, no. So hopefully we'll see a nice upset. That'll make my weekend. Hopefully the show made yours. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll talk to you next time. I'm Anton Lee, as always. See you next time.